Now, Khabib clones are starting to take over the UFC by storm. It's time to take a closer look at each wrestler's uprising, or aka Khabib's cousins. Now, it's obvious that Khabib left an historic impact in the UFC, while to some people,
The Nurmagomedov loss. Dustin Poirier lost.
Where's he, Gumbo? Where's he now?
his win streak of 29-0 has inspired multiple wrestlers to compete in the UFC since Khabib dominated the lightweight division with only wrestling. He has also been coaching the recently reigning Islam Makachev full-time now. Islam Makachev has been training with Khabib ever since they were kids in Dagestan, under Khabib's father. Islam specializes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and Combat Sambo, so pretty much Khabib's base. There's also been a massive debate stirring up online regarding who is the better fighter between Khabib and Islam Makachev. However, the fact that Khabib won his 25th fight against the best kicker in the UFC, Edson Barboza, at only age 29, while also having 0 losses compared to Islam, who won his 25th fight at age 32 with a loss by KO, really shows the difference. But don't get me wrong, Islam is an incredible fighter, and there is still time for him to surpass Khabib's record, as he still beat UFC legends like Dustin Poirier recently and Charles Oliveira, both with submissions of course. But Islam is set apart from the other Dagestani fighters, including Khabib, since he actually is a pretty good striker. Islam's future is overall very bright, with speculation that he will be fighting Leon Edwards in welterweight next. Now for Khamzat Chimaev, well, he's an interesting case.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king.
Khamzat is also from Russia and is referred to as Evil Khabib. Khamzat Chimaev has had a freestyle wrestling background ever since he was a toddler, until he started focusing on MMA as a career at age 23. Although his training in MMA could be considered a fairly late beginning, he has had definitely one of the most impressive and fastest uprisings in the UFC so far, since his first fight in it was on July of 2020 and his last fight was on late October of 2023. And in this time period, Khamzat has racked up 7 consecutive wins, with his biggest, most recent feats being with Kamaru Usman and Kevin Holland. Although he barely beat Kamaru Usman, who was already dethroned at the time, and not to mention, he also took the fight on very short notice. But although Khamzat Chimaev has had one of the best and fastest uprisings in the UFC, he hasn't been fighting recently at all, and there's many theories on why this is. There has been speculation online around Khamzat's ties with the Russian politician and head of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, who has had a very bad reputation as a politician, and that because of this connection, Khamzat Chimaev has had problems entering and remaining in the UFC with his visa. So that's why he's fighting Robert Whittaker in Saudi Arabia apparently on June 22nd instead of the US. It's pretty safe to say that Khamzat fell off badly, and that his future isn't nearly as bright as Islam's, since he's also been calling out too many top-tier fighters recently, without a good enough rank, standpoint, and authority for the fight to actually happen in the first place. Now, the third Khabib counterpart isn't exactly from Russia, but also has a strong background in wrestling, particularly Sambo. I'm talking about Shavkhat Rakhmonov, who has had a respectable MMA career of 18-0, with his last fight in the UFC being with Stephen Thompson, where he displayed how powerful his wrestling and takedown ability really is transferred to the UFC. Shavkhat is definitely the most underrated fighter on this list, particularly because he has only been getting recognition after his last fight, and he was already undefeated with 5 more wins than Khamzat when Khamzat got publicity. After Shavkhat got more recognition, it was clear that his potential was more than Khamzat's, and people are already starting to notice who the superior wrestler really is. There is no official fight for Shavkhat after beating Stephen Thompson. However, I'm sure he will be set up for a fight in the near future, now that he's getting more publicity. Not to mention his striking is also very good, and is pretty much unmatched on this list. Overall, Shavkhat Rakhmonov has an actual fighting chance of calling out top-tier fighters, unlike Khamzat, in the near future. But make sure to leave your opinion on which fighter will accomplish the most in the UFC down below.